Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamas Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shanti Mantra. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarod Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirate Ya Upanishatsu dharmaha Te mai santu Te mai santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we are entering the fourth chapter of the ChhandogyaUpanishad. Still the subject matter of upasanas continues. If you remember this morning, the meditation was on looking upon Mano Brahmeti Pasita. May you look upon mind as Brahman. At the individual plane, Akasho Brahmeti Pasita. Look upon Akasha space as Brahman. At the divine plane, Adhyatma Adhideva. It was said that the mind is Chatushpat, 4 feet. Vak Prana Chakshu Shrotram. These are the 4 feet of the mind with which it approaches. Like an animal approaches, so also the mind approaches everywhere. And so also Akasha space has 4 feet. Agnihi, Vayuhu, Surya. And what is the other one? Dik, right. So, these 4 devatas are all in the Akasha. With that, as though the Akasha reaches everywhere. So, this was a meditation that was said earlier. So, there, something, Padadrishti Adhyasa, that the Vayu or etc. were the quarters, and that way they were to be looked upon as Brahman. Now, this Vayu and Prana. Vayu is the air, Prana is the breath. So air is a vital air. Prana also is vital air at the individual level. In the Upanishads, we find many meditations upon this vital air, because that which in fact provides dynamism to the whole creation. This prana, sutratma, hiranyagarbha is often described as the very creator from which everything originates. Everything, so the whole universe is sustained by vitality, by the vital air. So there is a cosmic vital air which provides dynamism to the whole cosmos. There is an energy, what you call vital energy, which runs the whole cosmos. The whole cosmos is constantly running, rotating, active. So that activity is due to the vitality that they have, due to this vital force. And air is the vital force at the cosmic level, because air is looked upon as the breath or vital force of Ishvara at the cosmic level. Similarly, air here at the individual level is a vital force at the individual level. This air vitality provides in fact the life and vitality to this body. So just at the individual level, we call it prana. The breath, the vital force, provides life or vitality to this body, mind, sense complex, which when departs, then this complex becomes inert, inactive. That shows that the activity of this complex was due to the presence of prana or vayu. And so if you imagine the whole cosmos as a body of Ishvara, then that also is run. It is also the head and eyes, and these different limbs are there at the cosmic level. The sun is the eye of Ishvara, earth the feet of Ishvara. Remember all this? Chandrama manaso jatah, chaksho suryo ajayata, मुखादिन्द्रश् चाग्निश्च प्राणाद् वायुरजायत नाभ्य आसीदन्तरिक्षं शीर्ष्णोद्यौ समवर्तत पद्भ्यां भूमिर्दिशश्रोत्रात्. It's a very beautiful way of looking at the universe as one organic whole. Just as this body is one organic whole, even though there are many limbs and many organs which make up this body, and each limb or organ has its own location. Head is in a different location, feet are at a different location, arms are at different locations. There are different names, forms, functions. So from that standpoint, each one of them is different from the other. But still, just as there is one self which informs the entire body, which provides a harmony or order in the entire body, which provides a unity in this diversity, that there is one self in this diverse body, or body consisting of this diverse and various organs and limbs. So also the universe is one organic whole. This is how the Vedas look at it. The universe is not an inner material thing, although you may call it matter in order to call it anatma, but otherwise manifestation of same consciousness. So universe also is one organic whole, like a live thing, having limbs, just as I have the limbs individual level. There are at the divine plane also the limbs are there, as you said, Surya Chandro Chanetre Karanavasha Sharodhyau Mukhamavidhano Yasya Vasteyam Abdihi Bhufpado Yasya Nabihi Vyad Asuhu, etc. So many of you may know this verse. Bhufpado. This verse says that the earth is the feet, 2 feet. Nabhi Vyad, the space is the middle part of the body. Air is the breath. Surya Chandro Chanetre, sun and moon are the eyes. Karano are the ears, are the quarters are the ears, etc. So that's a way of looking at the universe as like one Purusha, one person. Just as the individual level, this person has all the limbs, as we say, and organs, each one having different name and form and function, but still how they all are part of the one organ. They make one organic whole. They are informed by one life, informed by one self, by one harmony, one order. So also universe is one organic whole, informed by one self, one life. So Atma is there, of course, but Prana, life also is there. So right now the meditation pertains to the visible, the perceptible or experience, the things that we experience become the object of meditation. And what you don't experience becomes the object of knowledge. Self, of course, is not an object of experience as, the other objects are. So the way of knowing self is different from knowing pots and pans. The pot and pan, etc. are all objects. They are known as objects, which involves the knowledge, involves the subject-object duality. It's one kind of knowledge. Whereas knowledge of self is that where the subject-object duality also ultimately is negated. But to go to that knowledge where you negate everything, you gain the capacity of dropping even your role as a knower. Before there is a preparation of this kind of knowledge, where of course the knower-known duality is there, the duality is made extremely subtle, and this is the purpose of upasana or meditation, as we said. In that sense, these meditations become the gateway for the knowledge of the self, and that's why they are presented before the Upanishad, the self-knowledge portion. So now, this Vayu and Prana. Vayu means the cosmic vital air, vital force, and Prana means the individual vital force. So these are presented as those which are to be meditated upon as Brahman. Formerly they were presented as limbs or quarters or feet. Now they themselves are presented as the objects of meditation. So showing the connection between what we did earlier and what we are doing now. Sakshat Brahmatvena Upasyattvaya, that now they are to be meditated upon as Brahman. And the is a very famous meditation called Samvarga Vidya. It's the Vidya or the knowledge or the meditation where of course Ishvara alone is meditated upon. By Brahman means Saguna Brahma or Ishvara. Ishvara is of course Ananda, one who possesses countless attributes, countless glories. And so you take one or two of them for the purpose of meditation. So one of the things that Ishvara possesses is the capacity to swallow everything. It's called Samvarga. So this phenomenon, you see how one thing is swallowed by the other, and ultimately Ishvara swallows everything. He is a swallower. Very interesting way of looking at things, That somebody can meditate upon the swallowing, as also as a quality of Ishvara. So Samvarga Vidya. So this is the Vidya, this is a meditation that is sought to be imparted here. And as is often done, a knowledge is imparted in the context or in the background of a story, of an anecdote. So Akhyayika, here also an anecdote is there. For what? Sukha avabodhartha Akhyayika. In anecdote form or a story form, when something is presented, it becomes easy of comprehension. So a complex or a subtle point that you want to convey, which may become difficult simply when it is described in general, when it is explained or described in the context of a story or anecdote, becomes easier to grasp. And there were very complex things in the Upanishads or in the way, are communicated through this Akhyayika or anecdotes. Sometimes they are very long, like Kathopanishad, a long story. Sometimes very short. So here also there is an Akhyayika or an anecdote to make it interesting also for easy comprehension and also for conveying some other points also. Vidya, Dana, Grahana, Vidhi Pradarshanartha. Through this anecdote, the Upanishad also wants to convey the process of Vidya Dhanam and Vidya Grahanam. What's the process of imparting the knowledge? What is the process of imparting the knowledge? What is the process of receiving the knowledge? By process, what is meant is, what qualifications are required on the part of the one who wants to receive the knowledge, and what qualifications are required, or if you don't even want to use the word qualification, what is the way that we find the knowledge imparted by the wise people? So one who wants to receive the knowledge has to invoke the giver of knowledge from the other person. Like in India, when you're driving and you stop at the intersection, then all of a sudden, people, there's little children, some people come knocking at your windows and then do all kinds of things, in front of you. They invoke pity from you. And you pull out something and give him. So you have to, if you want to receive money, you have to invoke the giver of money. Depends on what you want to receive. So you want to receive something from somebody, that somebody has to be transformed into a giver of that thing that you want. So if you want to get money from somebody, to make him give you money by creating, in this case, a pity in him, and thus invoking the giver, out of pity or out of, so invoke the generosity. Fellows may not part with anything otherwise, but when seeing this, anybody is take it. So this is really a process of how to get money, how to get this, gift or so this is just a process. So what's the process of begging for money? And what's the process of giving the money? You follow? Similarly, what's the process of asking for knowledge? And what's the process of giving that knowledge? So one who wants a knowledge has to invoke from the other person the giver of knowledge. So human being is everything. It's not the right way. Whenever you see somebody you start giving lectures, it's not so. We may be too eager, to give lectures and all. But then that was not the case in the olden days. Knowledge only was imparted to a competent person, where competence was, determined based on certain factors. And the giver also had to be competent. Now, of course, let us say rules have changed. So now these are the rules. So you're all competent. That you are here itself is the way to invoke, So I guess the rules change. These days the rules are different. Those days the rules were different. In as much as this kind of means of communication are not there. Now there may be live streaming here and people staying several hundred miles away also will be listening to this. That was not the case earlier. You have to reach, approach, and you have to go where the teacher was. Sometimes you have to find him. Where is he? You heard of him, but you don't know where is he. You have to find him. After finding him, then you have to please him. Not that he needs to be pleased in a common way. But the teacher gets pleased when he sees the sincerity of the student, not so much, that's all he wants actually. Because teacher is always ready or eager to impart the knowledge. At the same time, he would want to make sure that the knowledge is imparted to the right person so that it is effective, it serves the purpose. So, therefore, the teacher also sort of tests as to whether the person who is asking for the knowledge has those qualifications or not. So, these kind of things are conveyed through a story or anecdote. So, for that vidya, dana, grahana vidhi, pradarsanartha. What's the vidhi? What's the process of imparting the knowledge? What's the process of receiving the knowledge? What kind of qualities the receiver of knowledge should have, the aspirant should have, and what qualities we find in those who are giving the knowledge. Shraddha, annadana, anuddhatatvadinam cha vidya prapti sadhanatvam pradarshate. Again, this akhyayika, this anecdote also here expresses or shows what are the qualifications required for the student. Shraddha. So Shraddha means the implicit faith. Then in this case, annadana, danam. The receiver of knowledge should have that generosity also, meaning he must be a virtuous person. He must be a virtuous person, meaning perform the virtuous karma. He must earn a lot of punya. His life must be such that he always performs punya karma, virtuous actions. Meaning that karma phala, the punya karma phala also is because something as precious as knowledge can be gained only when we have earned. So when we have given something and earned those merits, then that qualifies us to receive something very precious, as precious as a knowledge. So therefore the person who is receiving the knowledge also must have that generosity, charity, or he must be a virtuous person, punyashali. Anuddhatatva. Sometimes teachers test you also, and to see whether you have that humility or not. Do you react? I don't want your knowledge. After all, if sometimes if somebody treats you in a manner which may be a little hurtful, in your opinion, not respectful to you, then you may get hurt. It's all right, I don't want. So anuddhatattva, meaning that the humility is there, that he gives the benefit of doubt to the teacher that when he says something, there is a reason behind it. It's not to hurt me or insult me, but there is something, some reason. And that way shows also the humility on the part of the disciple. There is also a virtuous person who has earned a lot of punya to deserve this. And he has Shraddha, the implicit faith. So some of these qualifications are also sought to be conveyed by this story. So we have to extract these things from there. If you and I read this story, it may not make, what is this going on? What do they mean? Therefore, you require somebody like Bhashyakara. To tell us this is what it means. And sometimes we are not very clear about Bhashyakara, then you need the Tikakara. So this is what Bhashyakara means. So therefore we need those teachers. Thank God that all those great people have been there, who have dedicated their life in contemplating upon the scriptures to bring out the meanings, and then others who even worked on that and further made it clear. then we can get the benefit. I should not say we, then if I go into this, these things may not make any sense to me, but when you read Bhashya and the little Tika and then again spend time and think about it, then things seem to make meaning. So all of these are brought out from this Akhyayika. So now open the page 7. Om Janashrutirha Pautrayaha Shraddhadeyaha Bahudayi Bahupakyaha Asa Saha Sarvataha Avazathan Mapayan Chakre Sarvata eva me Annam Atsyante Iti. Ha is Aitihya. Once upon a time. Ha Itihasa. Once upon a time this happened. Meaning that something happened. So this is the anecdote or discovery of an event that actually, of an episode that actually happened. It's not something imaginary. Ha means Aitihya, that this happened. For us to know that is not an figment of imagination. That sometimes we tell all kinds of stories to children, they are totally imaginary. Or angels and this and whatever it is. Although when we were children we thought it was all real. But this is something that happened. Why is it necessary to clarify that? Is that in fact there was a person like this who received the knowledge, and there was a person like that who imparted the knowledge. That these were the circumstances in which they came together. These were the conditions that are satisfied for this one to receive the knowledge and that one to impart the knowledge. So we are assured that such thing can happen. That we also can be one of those to receive the knowledge. That if we do what that person did, then we can also qualify to receive the knowledge. So in this manner, instead of simply describing the Shraddha, Bhakti, etc., what is Shraddha? So this is, so this is how they describe it. So Abhinaya. Instead of just using the word Shraddha, you describe a person actually behaving in a certain manner, so you know what Shraddha is. Like in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes the Asuri Sampat or these demoniac, tendencies. Not just say Dambodhar, doesn't only describe them in words. Give a list of all those demoniac tendencies. But describe how these fellows behave, what they think, how they behave. Then we know who a demoniac person is. Sometimes simply, listing the things may not be very clear to us. So Shraddha, yes, we understand. The literal meaning we may understand. But what it means in actuality. So when something is described to us in this form, then we know this is what Shraddha, this is how, when you behave like this, that's called Shraddha. When you behave like this, then that's called humility. When you behave like this is called general kindness. So that is why Abhinaya means that these qualities are actually demonstrated by their behavior, by their by their actions. That's what then we are assured that these things happen. Otherwise, if it's just an imaginary story, then we may not. It's okay, there's somebody's imagination. No, this happened. That means this can happen. It can happen to us also. And this is what we should do for it to happen to us. You follow? So Jana Shruti Ha. We need not worry about Jana Shruti. Pautrayana doesn't matter what it means. But Jana Shruti and Pautrayana. So Jana Shrutasya Apatyam and Putrasya Pautrayana. So anyway, the son of Jana Shruti and the grandson of his son or something like that. So it's interesting way of naming people, Like your surnames and things, So people had surnames. Jana Shruti, he is Pautrayana. So sometimes people are known by their father, or so some people are so predominant in the family that becomes a surname. Ambala Sarabhai, Sarabhai is name of a person. That became the surname. Lal Bhai. These are all very wealthy, well-known people. But similarly also Raghava, you say, Rama is called Raghava because Raghu became such a powerful person that by his name everybody is known. So also Jana Shruti, known from, his father, Janashruta, and etc., or his ancestor. So Jana Shruti, Pautrayana. So now his qualifications are described here. Shraddhadeya Bahudai Bahupakya. See the translation. So there was in the days of yore, that is her, a descendant of Janashruta called Janashruti. The grandson of his Janashruta's son, descendant all right, but then grandson of his son, Pautrayana. Pautra and Pautrayana. So Pautrasya Putra is Pautrayana. So the grandson of the son of Janashruta is Pautrayana. I mean, just for our information, but this is how in the Vedas we find all names, in this manner, coming from some important, prominent person, in that descent. Shraddha Deha, who offer gifts with Shraddha. So Shraddha Purasame Brahmanadibhya Deyamasyeti Shraddha Deha. He gave charity, he gave gifts to Brahmanas and others. But Shraddha Deha, who gave the gifts with Shraddha. Not just giving like that. So Satvik Dhanam. Deshe Kaleja Patrecha. The right place, the right time, to the right person. You can give in many ways. With some agenda in your mind, asatkritam, avajñātam, sometimes you just say, take it, you throw it like a bread to a dog. Take it. That is also a way of giving to somebody. That's the tamasic way of giving. Tamas. Or you give because you have the agenda of some return favor from your giving. So today you are giving and next year you go to him for some fundraising and stuff like that, So then our souvenir is there and we advertisement. So something like that, I don't know. What I am saying is that this is Rajasam Dhanam. But Datavyam iti yad Dhanam. Shraddha is that I should give. Our Swami says one feels just rich from within. It is the richness from within that just makes me feel I should give. I have plenty. That plenty is not measured by formal terms. It may not be plenty from somebody's standpoint. But he feels I have plenty. So what makes me give is my feeling that I have plenty and I should share. Datavyam iti yaddanam diyate anupakarane. So that which is given, knowing that is not going to return the favor. Is given, knowing very well that he is not going to return the favor. When you give something, thinking that this fellow can return the favor in some way or the other, then I can send my son, give him a job or something like that, No such agenda. Anupakara means who is not even capable of returning your favor, let alone. So you give datavyam from your own heart. I have to give. It's my pleasure to give. Although datavyam means duty, it's pleasure to give. It's given to someone who I know is not to return the favor. The right time, right place, to right person. Usko Shraddha. So Shraddha Deya hai. Meaning Jnana Shruti is well known as giving the gift to the Brahmanas and others with Shraddha. Not just giving, so with Sattvik Shraddha. Shraddha Deya hai. And then Bahudai. Somebody may say he may be giving all right. But people do give. So when a beggar comes before you, you give. In your pocket, you have 1,000 rupees, you give him 1 rupee, something like that. With Shraddha I have given. I give with Shraddha. Because I know he's not going to return the favor and this, that. But that, but then therefore, as the Upanishad says, the Shraddha Deyam, that's one thing, and Shriya Deyam. You must give in keeping with your own wealth. So for a person who has only 5 rupees, if he gives 1 rupee, that's a lot. But a fellow with 100 rupees, for him 1 rupee is not a big deal. And 1,000 rupees, 1 rupee is nothing. So Shriya Deyam. You must also give in keeping with your own means. Bahudai. So not only he gave with Shraddha, but then he gave plentifully. That shows his generosity. His sense of charity, the same time, generosity. In Puranas, you find this description, and then son is born and the king just, So like little Lord Krishna is born and it's a description that his father, he gives gold to all the the Brahmanas, and so much wealth is given that people, they come back. They hear that, they gave me this gold, silver coin, but now he's giving gold coin. So they throw the silver and then come for the gold. And then give some more precious. So they say the whole earth was full of wealth like this because people threw away and got something more. This is a wonderful description. When King Janak also gave, when the daughter Sita was married, then what charity? How many thousand? Everybody was given every Brahmana was given 1,000 cows with both the horns, decked in gold. Where did he get so many cows? We don't ask these questions. If you add up all of these, I don't know, there is enough room there in his cow shed. But this kind of questions are coming only from these Gnostic fellows. This question does not arise in Astic people. This means that you don't have respect for what they are writing. You don't have any feelings or sensitivity. You ask this kind of question. That's what happened to me, for example, What is there? How many Brahmanas are there? How many cows they gave? How much it all adds up? And then 2 horns and decked in gold. How much gold is that? That's not the thing. It's all Arthavada. So idea is Bahudai, give plenty. Bahupakya, and cooked for many. Bahupaktavyam ahani gruhayasya, so Bahupakya. One who cooked plenty every day. One in whose house or home every day lots of food was cooked. For whom? For naturally other people. Na kanchana vastu pratyachakshita tadvratam tasmadaya kaya chividaya bhakvanam prapnuyat aradhyasman namityachakshate. So Upanishad says that when somebody comes to you seeking food and shelter, you should not turn him away. And where do you get then? You must have the means available to you to feed these people. Tasmadaya kaya chividaya bhakvanam prapnaya. So it becomes a duty of the householder to have plenty of food in his home. Ya kaya chivadha. By hook or by any means, you must have lots of food available, lots of grains available in your home. Aradhyasman nimitya chakshade. When the lady of the house cooks, then what is in her mind? Aradhyasmai, I'm cooking for this person. For whom? An abhyagada, for a guest. So a guest is expected at any time. So food is cooked for the guest and given with great respect. Says that the food comes back to you the way you offer. So uttam. So if you offer in the most exalted way, it comes back to an exalted way. Madhyam, in a middling way, comes back to a middling way. Adhama, in an inferior way, comes back to you that way. Meaning they knew these rules. And so here Bahupakya, lot of food is cooked in his home. So what then? Bhojanarthebhya bahuvasya gruhe annam pachyate ityartha. In his house, lots of food is cooked for those, who were needy of food. Bahupakya pakya asa. Upanishad says asa, he was. Somebody says, is this an imaginary story or what is it? He says, no, such a person was. Upanishad says, you see this Janashruti Pautrayana Shraddhadeha Bahudai Bahupakya Asa. He was. Such a person actually was there. He existed. When Vishishte Deshe Kale, at some point, at some time, at some place, doesn't tell us when and where, but a person like that was. Now, further, this person is described. Says Saha Sarvatah Avasathan Mapayan Chakre. This Janashruti Sarvatah Avasathan means rest houses. Mapayan Chakre constructed. Sarvatah in all the places. Sarvasu Dikshu Grameshu Nagareshu Cha. In all the villages as well as in all the towns, in all directions, everywhere, he built avasathan, meaning rest houses. With what intention in mind? What is avasatha? Bhashyakara says, etya vasantiyeshu. Avasa means people come and live there. Means they stay overnight, etc. So like inn or rest houses, dharmashalas, this is what number of them he constructed. Because people are traveling, they travel by foot, they need to rest overnight, and they don't carry much with them, so they need food also. And so they may be pilgrims, they may be just travelers, and so for them all these rest houses were built by him. Sarvataheva, then what? With what? Sarvataheva me annam achyanteti. He had this idea. Me annam achyanteti. They should eat my food. Sarvataha, all of them, everywhere. All the people everywhere should eat my food. Meaning that this is what he wanted, that they should eat my food. Not anybody, not their food, my food. Meaning that he should provide. So imagine, he built so many rest houses in so many places. Everywhere food must be cooked, isn't it? And must be provided to all those who are the guests. So this is describing the king Janashruti as to how a disciple should be. Says Shraddhadeha, ye Shraddha, and of course the Shraddha towards Guru also will be described subsequently. Then Bahudai, he used to give plenty, and also Annadata, he gave plenty of food, And so Annadanam was a very important dhanam. Considered to be the most exalted dhanam or giving was Annadanam. We would say Vidya Dhanam is most important, but the Annadanam, because after all people have to survive, they have to live. So there's a very virtuous king was there. And when you do this, you earn a lot of punya. You accumulate a lot of, every karma gives you karma phala. So when so much punya is accumulated, then there is as though you get some kind of an aura. Some kind of a luster you get. So, I'll just read out what they further describe, the stories describe. I just only quoted one sentence here. So, second one, he is Atha hamsaha nishayam atipetuhu. It seems that once upon a time in the evening or at night, the king must be sleeping in his terrace of the palace, because it was, the summer season, so he must be sleeping out there in the open. At that time, tad devam hamsaha hamsam abhivada. It seems that the two swans were flying above him. So who are these swans? Hamsaha nishayam ratro, maybe more than the number of swans were flying, he saw them. Who are these swans? Rushayo devataha va rajnyaha annadan gunahit toshitaha santah hamsarupaha bhutva. Bhashyakara says that perhaps some rishis or some devatas, who were very satisfied and pleased with this quality of the king, that he gave plenty of food, toshitaha, satisfied and pleased by this virtue of the king, hamsarupaha bhutva, they took the form of swans, hamsa. Hamsa is a mythical swan, I guess it must be there. Supposed to, what hamsa does? Nirakshira viveka. It is said that a hamsa actually can separate the milk from the water, and will take milk, leave the water. Elsewhere it is also said that this hamsa, the swan, Pango? That these swans just don't eat anything and everything. They only take the pearls. That's what they eat. That's what they say. Anyway, so a swan is a divine bird, you can say. So some rishis, sages, and some devatas who are very pleased with the virtues of this king, took the form of the swans and they were flying above him so that he could see them. Rajnya darshana gochare atipetuhu. They flew above so that the kings could see them. They came to bless him. The swans came to bless the king. And then interesting thing happened there. Taddev hamsaha hamsam abhivada. One swan, in that group of swans that were flying, one swan was flying behind, addressed the swan who was flying ahead. Hamsaha hamsam abhivada. One hamsa, one swan, abhivada, addressed the swan flying in front. Ho ho ay bhallaksha bhallaksha. Hey, listen, bhallaksha bhallaksha. So this one addresses him as, hey, you who has sharp vision. Bhallaksha, bhadraksha, one was very sharp vision. Listen. In a way, taunting him. So says here, that you are supposed to be having a sharp vision, but I think you fail to see something here. Hey Bhallaksha, looks to me like you fail to see something very obvious here. What is it? Ho, hey Bhallaksha, Bhallaksha, Jana Shrutehe Pautranasya Samam Diva Jodhi Atadam. This Jana Shruti is so virtuous that the luster because of the virtue, you can call it aura, you can call it whatever you want to call it, that is, that is spreading all over. And says here, Tanma Prasangshihi. Make sure that you do not come in contact with the luster of Jnana Shruti. Why? Tvama Prasakshihi. Let it not burn you. So is the luster of Jnana Shruti. Because of virtue. That Jnana Shruti is sleeping on the roof. But then his luster, his aura is there. And these swans are passing by. And so the swan, flying behind, warns the swan ahead and taunts him. Hey Bhallaksha, the so-called person with sharp eyes, sharp vision, looks like you don't see, you have very poor vision, looks to me like. Because you fail to see this aura, the luster of Jnana Shruti. Don't you know that if you come in contact with the luster that you will be burnt? So be careful. And that way he described the glory of Jnana Shruti. The swan flying behind. In so addressing the swan flying ahead and saying that, hey, make sure that you stay away from contacting the luster of this Jnana Shruti, otherwise you will be burned. Meaning, look at the luster of Jnana Shruti. He's so great. So in these words, the swan flying behind described the greatness of Jnana Shruti. Then, look at the next passage that we have. Page 7, passage number 9. Tamuha paraha pratyuvacha kamvara enam etata santam sayugvanam iva raikvam athaide yonu Katham sayugvaraikva ide. So when the swan flying behind in a way taunted, the swan flying ahead, that looks like you are short-sighted. Then that fellow retorted back. Who? The swan in the front retorted back. Tamu parah pratyuvacha. That swan was flying behind, the other one, that is one flying ahead, replied to the swan behind. So, Are Nikrostoyam Raja Varakaha. Hey, you don't know. This king is nothing. Nikrustaha, he is inferior. Varaka is pitiable. He didn't use the words, but that's what he meant. Who are you praising? This king? Who is so inferior? Who is pitiable? Who are you praising? What do you think I do not know? You are telling me something that I don't know, or what? Why? Says, come, vara. That's interesting. Come, vara means come, vare. Come, are. These are all Vedic things, So, enam etat santam suyugmanam varikvam athrayade enam santam. This king who is such, who is so inferior, who is so pitiable, who is nothing compared to somebody. So, the way you are describing this king, the way you are describing the greatness of this king, looks like you are describing this Raikva. So, Sayugvanam Raikvam. Sayugvana means there was a sage called Raikva. He was known as Sayugvan, along with the cart. So this Raikva with the cart. This is how he was known. There was a great sage known as Raikva with the cart. But I guess always he moved around with the cart. And he lived in the cart also, underneath the cart. That was his home. So you are describing this king as though he is Raikva with the cart. Meaning that this king is nothing before the Raikva. You are describing the king in such glorious terms only should be reserved for Raikva, not for this fellow. He doesn't deserve to be described in these terms. The one who deserves to be described is Raikva with a cart. So when he said, then that other swan said, oh, now he didn't know something. Says, so you kathan sayugva Raikva. Who is this Raikva who is associated with the cart? Other swan asked him. Now he didn't know something. Formerly he thought that he is enlightening the other fellow, other swan, by reminding him that, hey, you are overlooking the glory of Janashruti, whose luster so spread that it can burn you. Is the Vadai talking, who is this Janashruti? It's nothing compared to Raikva with the cart. So you are describing Janashruti as though he is as great as Raikva. He is not. He is nothing before him. So the other swan was curious. He said, who is the Raikva with the cart? Then it is the next passage says. So this is we quoted here because this is a very famous passage. And Bhashyakara is very fond of quoting this. So when you study Bhashya, you will come across this sometimes. Even Bhagavad Gita also Bhashyakara quotes. Somewhere in Upanishad also he quotes. So Bhashyakara is fond of quoting a few things. Many things, but few things he quotes again and again. Vacharamam, Vikaro, Namadhyam, etc. And so also this passage here. So read the next passage. Yatha krutaya vijitaya athareyaha sanyanti evam enam sarvam tat abhisamayati yat kincha prajaha sadhu kurvanti yastad veda yat saveda samaya etadukta iti. So now describe who the Raikva is in a very interesting way. Now, referring to the game of dice, they must be playing those days. In the game of dice, then there are 4 cubes. Each cube has a number of dots. So one cube has 4 dots. Other cube has 3 dots. Third cube has 2 dots. Fourth cube has 1 dot. Naturally. Each one also has a name. The cube with 4 dots is called Kruta. There are 4 yugas, Do you know 4 yugas? Kruta Yuga or Satya Yuga. Then what is the next one? Treta Yuga. Then Dwapar Yuga. And then Kali Yuga. So when you come to Bhagavad Gita, the 8th chapter, then the teacher will explain to you that what is the relation, how these yugas are graded. They will tell you that Kali Yuga has 432,000 years. That's the long Kali Yuga, 4.32. Next is what? Dwapar Yuga, twice as long. Treta Yuga, 3 times. Satya Yuga, 4 times. So, Dwapara Yoga is twice as long as Kali Yuga. Treta Yoga is 3 times as long as Kali Yuga. And Kruta Yoga is 4 times as long as Kali Yuga. So if you add up, what does it become? It becomes 10, by the way. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 becomes what? 10. So that's one. So the Dwapara Yoga is twice, Treta Yoga is 3 times, and Satya Yoga is 4 times. There were the Kali Yuga. So there were that cube which has 1 dot is called Kali. The cube which has 2 dots is called Dwapara. The cube with 3 dots is called Treta. And the cube with 4 dots would be called Kruta. Satya or Kruta Yuga. So these 4 yugas are represented by these 4 cubes. And then in a dice, you just play like that. You know the famous game in Mahabharata where Yudhishthira was playing with Duryodhana, but then there was this Shakuni, behind there, who was the crooked fellow, and he had loaded dice, and poor Yudhishthira did not know. He kept on playing and kept on losing. I have no comment about that anyway, so we'll not. But the thing is that this is that game of dice. And then there are all the stakes there. And the thing is that one who, while throwing the dice, one who gets that cube, which is called Kruta, which has 4 dots, if you happen to get that, then you collect everything. You collect everything. We used to play this game of cards, one above the other. And then if you match the card, say 7 and you may 7, then you get the whole thing, you see. So here also, if you get that 4, then you get everything. So it is this that is presented here as an example. So says here, Yatha Krutaya Vijitaya Adhareyaha. Adhara means the inferior ones. Adhareyaha, the inferior ones. Sanyante get included. Where? Krutaya Vijitaya. When Kruta becomes a winner, when somebody gets that Kruta, that dice, which has 4 dots, then he's a winner. And then he gets everything that other 3 include. So in that, how everything gets included. You follow? This is an interesting example. How in Kruta, everything else gets included. You know what it means? We'll tell you tomorrow. How that Kruta swallows everything. The example also has something to do with what meditation will be prescribed later on. That Kruta swallows everything, because that fellow gets everything. So swallowing, is the attribute of Brahman. And that is to be meditated upon. Anyway, so this one describes the glory of this Raikva, the sage. That sage is like that Kruta. And just as in Kruta means that dice with 4 dots, everything gets included with the inferior, with 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dots, all those inferior cubes. Whatever they add gets all included when you have that cube with the 4 dots. So becomes the winner. Similarly also, evam eram saram tad abhisameti yat kincha prajaha sadhu kurvanti. Similarly also, all the virtues did perform by all the people, they all get included in the virtue of this Raikva. Raikva swallows the virtues of all the people. And anyone who knows that also, not only Raikva, but whatever it is that Raikva knows, also gets that, that glory. So this is how it begins here. We'll continue our discussion tomorrow on this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.